Hello, welcome to Rusty Bottom Workshop. As you can see, I've been kind of taking bits off the van. Well, I always have to do something, I can't just sit still and watch telly all day long. Although it'd be good if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, then you can watch me doing stuff rather than watching telly. It's worth a shot, isn't it? Right, so everyone in the grandma has been doing solar panels, and I bought a flexible solar panel to put on the roof of this van last year. I kind of ran out of time and the weather changed, so after dithering for 18 months I've got a solar panel on the roof, and I've recorded that for you so you can come and have a look and see how you do it yourself. Yeah, there's loads of videos everywhere telling you everything and all the rest of it, and that's great, but each installation's different and everybody wants a different thing. I wanted mine to be kind of almost stealth, so it's a black VW T5.1 van, and the panel I ordered a black one, all the fittings are black. Come and have a look, see what you think. Okay, so this is a 200 watt flexible panel that I got from Voltanic as a kit. That is just a little cover I found for £4. That's where the cables are going to go inside. You have to cut the MC4 connectors off the ends, unfortunately, to get them through the hole, otherwise you have to drill massive holes, which is a shame. I spent ages marking out where it's going to go. Inside is the roof panel, which comes off with just some plastic clips, and that needs to come out. So underneath things, I did the insulation a couple of years ago. And I'm just checking, making sure that where I'm going to drill holes roughly there's no wires or there's double skin metal or panels or something else in the way. In this kit you get like an extension cables, which those are, and I ran them down that panel inside the box section there. It just drops down, it's actually quite good, right, all the way down to the bottom, and there's conveniently like a hole in the bulkhead there, in the panel there, just below the panel. I can just run that straight through, so that was nice and easy. And next thing, it's going to go into isolator switch. So this is, I'm only going to use this for the solar panel, so I can switch the solar panel off, disconnect it from the battery and the charger if I need to do anything. These are M5 stainless steel screws and nylock nuts, and I'm going to use these to just as a bit of a safety thing, just to bolt through each corner of the panel to the roof. I probably don't need to do this. I'll explain later in the video why I'm doing it, but it's just me being me, over engineer. And I'm not going to just drill holes and just pop them through. I'm going to put grommets, small grommets in there, so they can go into that. And there's a bit of flexibility there, because when you're driving along and the wind's blowing over the top. This is the bit I've been dreading, the first drilling the first hole in my lovely roof. You can see there I've put some vinyl strips onto the ridges where the panel is going to sit and be glued down. That's really, well, I'll explain later on why I've done that, but it's quite a common thing to do. I'm trying to protect the roof really. When I drill the hole, I just dropped a wire down there just to make sure there was nothing below it and it was clear. And then I've got a hole, I don't know what they're called actually, those the bits where they widen the holes. You can drill holes, a bit like a countersink but bigger. And I just made the hole big enough for just slightly bigger than the screw. Incidentally, top tip, use a bit of a magnet which I've got at the bottom of that torch to pick up all the bits of iron filing so you don't get them everywhere. And the most important thing you have to do is clean the surface. Now I've washed the roof earlier on anyway, let it dry, but now I'm just going to rub some alcohol onto the vinyl where the glue's going to go, just so it's got there's no grease or any dust or any rubbish on there, so the glue sticks really well to it. Don't forget to clean around the holes as well if you're going to do the same as me, where you're going to drill into your lovely van's roof. I really didn't want to do that. Likewise, I had to drill a hole at the back where the cables are going to go through, and that was even bigger than those. I was crying when I was drilling that one. And I use Sikabond, black one. There's various variations on the theme of this gully, but it's really amazing stuff. But be careful, it gets absolutely everywhere, really does. Make sure you've got gloves and some old rags nearby, and also alcohol will clean it off quickly if you clean it before it sets. Right, we're ready to go. I didn't know where to start, if I'm honest. I did put some masking tape at the front leading edge where the panel's going to be, so to give it a nice straight edge when I peeled the masking tape off after the panel's on. And then I just did a bit of a zigzag pattern on the roof. But I've left quite a few air gaps in between. A lot of people seal the panel all the way around completely, but I'm not so keen on that, because in winter you're likely to get condensation and maybe ice and goodness knows whatever else, and that will cause its own problems. So I've left air gaps in between, so as you're driving along, hopefully if there's anything in there, any moisture or anything, it'll just blow out. That's the idea, but we'll see how it goes. You can probably tell I've speeded this sequence up, but it took me ages because I was doing this really slowly and carefully. Right, I was supposed to have a helper with this part, but they conveniently disappeared, so I had to do it on my own, so it didn't quite fall flat where I wanted it first time. But it's okay, this glue is really strong stuff. Don't forget to put some of the adhesive around the holes as well, around the grommets. Before I put the grommet in, I did paint the inside of the metal with just some stone chip paint just to protect it before then. And the worst bit for me at this point was just trying to get these screws to fit. They were just a really tight fit, which is what I wanted, but they were a bit tighter than I expected. But anyway, I managed to get them in. I've only just pushed them in. They're on loose. I don't want the edges to be on really low and tight to the roof, because it's only fiberglass I think underneath, and I don't want it to break. They're there as just like a safety, additional safety for the panel. This bit took forever. Again, I've speeded this little bit up. You don't want to watch me doing this for 4 hours, do you? Although it took me about an hour to do all of this, the roof. Right, the next bit was after I drilled a hole at the back for the cables, I put a grommet in there as well. And again, I painted the metal first to protect it, and then I put a rubber grommet in there. And finally I put my handy little cable cover on top of it, and I pop rivet. It's got 3 holes in it for bolts, so I just used 2 pop rivets to hold it down to keep the pressure off, and then put a dab of glue on there and sealed it all up. Right, I've become I really do not like these MC4 connectors. To be honest, I'm not keen on them at all. And the annoying thing is I didn't actually have any grips, proper crimpers for that size of cable. I only had smaller ones, so I had to improvise using pliers, which isn't the best, but it's worked. Remember, when you're fitting these, there's an order. You have to put the plastic nut at the end that seals it, and there's like a little thing that grips it, and there's like a rubber piece as well that ensures it's waterproof before you crimp on the end. That's a classic case of mine leaving those things off before I put the end on. There, nice and tight. So there you are. So that's the little piece that's waterproof, and that grips it, and then that just make sure that's on really tight. These only go in one way. Make sure they clip in. There should be a good positive click. I was a bit annoyed I had to cut the original ones off and put another ones on just to get it through the hole, but you know, there you go, such is life. So they're going to go in there, and I'm also going to put like some carpet or something around it just to stop it rubbing against any metal. Now the other end is connected to the isolator that I fitted in there. That was an absolute swine to get those cables in. There's not much space to get those cables in. One thing, disconnect the positive from the solar before you start messing with that. Once the solar's on and it's live all the time, even though you've got stuff on it. Right, so this is where my leisure battery is going to go. That's the MPPT controller, and I've wired in that's like a plastic battery box that I bought that I'll screw to that panel, put the battery in, and then there's a top piece that goes onto that. It's a lithium battery. Costs a little bit more, but it's actually surprisingly light for its size. The old lead version of that would, I'd have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to try and lift it in there. So I spent a bit of time connecting up the cables. Now when you're doing the solar, you have to connect the battery to the controller first, and then connect the solar panel to the controller at the end. Now because I've wired in an isolator, I can just wire everything in and have that switched off. Which is, even though it was a pain to wire in, it's actually a very useful thing, and it did come in really useful a few times. No sparks. That's just a bit difficult to see in there. Right, with the battery connected, the display comes on. I don't know, it's a bit difficult to see with a light. If you just wait a moment, I'll move that so you can try and see the display. There, you can see it's telling you the state of the battery. It's not connected to anything, just the battery, but it's showing it's switched on effectively. Right, so I'll put the battery in there, and there's as I mentioned earlier, there's a top cover that will go on that, and there's a strap that goes around it to keep it in position. I just wanted it all nice and neat. Final check to make sure you've got the positive and the negative the right way around, which is it's all highlighted on the bottom of the controller. So first one is for the solar panel, the second one is to the battery. And the final thing is you get a temperature sensor that just clips into the top of there. I'm guessing it adjusts the algorithm of charging based on the temperature of the battery or that area around there. I deliberately put the battery and all of this low down because I know it's cooler there and it's higher up in the van. It's can get quite hot, especially as the van's black. Right, the moment of truth. Let's flick the switch and connect the solar. See what happens. Yep, yay, it lives. You can see the little sun logo means it's charging. So I was really pleased with that, worked first time. And it'll rotate through a sequence of menus, and you can adjust them and look at them and various things like that. So now the solar panel's on and it's wired into the battery. I've got a few bits to finish off at the back there, but before I can put the roof panel back on, I'm just considering a few options. One is lighting. I've got two of these touch sensitive lights. I'm not sure where to put them yet. I really don't like drilling holes, so I'll probably try and put them somewhere that's kind of fairly non-destructive, shall we say. I'm probably thinking maybe at the side of the panels there. So we've got these to wire in. I also bought a separate battery display, state of charge kind of thing, and it's only a small thing because there's one on the controller at the back, but I don't always want to be opening the tailgate, so I'm going to find somewhere inside the cab here and just have that wired in as well. And of course everybody always needs USB ports. We can't get enough of them these days, can we? So I bought a couple of these as well. These are all in one. Got USB, standard USB, I don't know if you can see that, and USB-C, fast charging as well, which is good. And you can switch them on and off, because a lot of these are on all the time, which is just draining power. So I'll have to scatter a couple of these around the van as well. I mean, the only thing with that is that you've got the big black blob of plastic, which I'm not so keen on. I've let the glue dry for a few days on the roof just in case. The one thing I will say is the reason I decided to drill 4 holes in the roof, which I wasn't really keen on doing, is just it's been so hot recently. I've got vinyl on the ribs on the roof, and then I glue the panel to the vinyl rather than the roof, so if at some point in the future I need to replace the solar panel, it should be able to just come off. But it was so hot recently I could physically peel the vinyl off the roof without anything at all. It was so hot. I ended up burning my arm actually on the roof. So I don't want to be in a situation where we're driving somewhere abroad, for example, and it's so hot that the vinyl peels away and the solar panel flies off and hits someone behind us on a motorway. So I'm not so keen on doing that. So as a safety precaution, I have drilled 4 holes and put screws in there as well, just not tight, just to hold it in position, just in case that was to happen. It probably won't happen because the solar panel itself is covering the roof, so the temperature should reduce. But that's me. I like to be Mr. Paranoid. I'd rather be safe than worry about things like that. So yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.